Well done, we've created our first fully functional Node.js application. You can successfully retrieve information from an API, parse the data, and print it out. You can handle errors, implement event handlers for streams, and organize your code in modules. Well done. But as with all things, more can be done. We're going to make our application a little more perfect with the feature of getting information for multiple Treehouse students from the command line as arguments to our script. So our code is a little brittle at the moment. We have to dive into the code and manually put in a username, like Chalkers. But let's put in another colleague, Joy. And profile.get Joy Keston 2. And let's run our code. You'll notice that Joy's profile result gets sent after mine, but is returned first. This is us seeing the non-blocking in action. Because Joy doesn't have as many badges, the HTTP request cycle finishes before mine, so it prints it out. In other languages, it would wait until mine is processed first and then print out Joy's. But because we're streaming the data in and dealing with it when it can, it's orders of magnitude faster than other solutions, which is awesome. Now, let's use this as an array. So we can do var users is equal to Chalkers, Joy Keston 2, and then we can do users, and then we can cycle over them using the for each method. Now, you'd normally shy away from the for each method in browsers because it's not supported by older browsers. But since Node.js uses the V8 engine from the modern Chrome browser, we can use for each without worrying. So we can do function, and when you iterate over an array with the for each method, it passes each member of the array into the callback function. So each member of this array would be a username. So let's call it username. And then what we can do is do profile.get and then username. Now, this can be shortened even further, where we can do users for each, and then we can just use the profile get method. So we can just do this. So users for each profile get. That's a lot more concise. Because the get method takes in one parameter, the username, this works since the callback for each passes one parameter. So let's see this in action. And it still works. This means we can pass in any number of users. Let's add Dave McFarland. And let's run it again. Cool. But how would we do something like Node, app.js, Chalkers, and any number of usernames here? Well, just like there's a window object in JavaScript in the browser, there's another global object for Node.js, and that's called process. So you could explore the process like this. Process console.dir process. And so let's just comment these two lines out at the bottom. Let's see what we see. So let's clear this and Node app.js. And let's just put the usernames in that we want. Let's just do these two for now. Oops, got a syntax error because of that slash there. Let's try it again. Clear this out so we've got as much runway as possible. And if you look in here, we've got all the information about this Node process. It's Node, its version is this, and it's got all these other things in here. And it says what it's loading up as modules. So if we go back up to the top, So on this process object, we have an array called argv. And let's log this out so that we can see it. Show console. Clear. And as you can see, I've spelt my username incorrectly, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Oh, that's C up there. Let's clear. And as you can see, we've got an array. So we've got the node, which is this one. We've got the position to the app.js that we're running. And then we've got the parameter Chalker and Dave McFarland. So what we can do is we don't want these first two here, but we want the items from the second index, or the number 2, which is the third index. And we want the everything else. So we can use the method called slice on the array to get everything that we want from the index that we want to start from. So in this case, it's the third index, which is number 2. Remember, this is 0, this is 1, and then this is 2. Okay, so let's try that out. So let's uncomment users again. And we can paste process.argv, and we can slice from index 2 till the end of the array. That's what happens when you pass in one parameter in there. It starts at the third index, which is number 2, and then it returns the rest of the array. And then we can do profile.get. So let's try this out. So clear this. And then we can do node app.js. And let's put in Chalker as a mistake, or Chalker's 123. And we can put Dave McFarland in there. We can put Joy in there. And we can put in Nick Pettit. Cool. So as you can see here, there was an error getting the profile Chalkers 123. And obviously that responded quicker because it was not found. So the text that was sent back from the server was just the string not found. So that was the first thing to respond quickly. So we know there's an error there. Then Nick's was brought through, then Joy's, then Dave McFarland's. So let's just do it with the correct Chalkers now. And here we go. Now Dave's got twice as many points as I do in JavaScript, so I better get off and do some more Treehouse. We've perfected our application a little further. Now it's your chance to improve the application. Here's some things that you could do. You could give friendlier error messages when the connection fails or when there's a parse error. You could make the first argument passed after the app.js to be the topic area you want to know how many points a Treehouse student has in that area. And finally, you could extract all the printing methods out into its own module, named something like printer. Give them a go and share your solutions with your fellow students in the Treehouse forum. Before I go, here's another project that you could do. Use what you've learned to interact with an API for a weather site to make a command line app that takes a postal code or zip code as an argument and prints out the weather for today at that location. Can you think of any other apps that you could make with an API? If so, share your ideas and solutions in the Treehouse forum. Take care, and I'll see you next time.